everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kat, and for today we are going to be doing yet another speed reviews where I will be just blazing through a few of these palettes that I have tried recently. And so let's just immediately jump right in. The first one up is going to be from Charlotte Tilbury. I finally tried one of their quads, and this one is the Rebel. So let's go ahead and take a look at this on the inside. And this is what it looks like. Very grungy green, but also very on the neutral side. The grunge level of the greens is minimal. But I had been wanting to try one of the Charlotte Tilbury quads for a really, really long time, and so I finally caved and was like, let's check the quality. Well, we did, and as per usual with the majority of luxury brands, and especially Charlotte Tilbury, for some reason, I don't know what it is about her brand, but it just hates me. And this palette was no different. This is a look that I came up with, and I actually forgot to take a picture, so I had to do a screenshot from the video that I was wearing that look in, and it did not clean up well. It was very patchy in quite a few sections, and the fact that this entire palette is like, you've got two satins in there, one metallic, and then one kind of sparkly thing. I think it's like sort of like a cross between a sparkle and a matte, but all of them ended up looking like matte brown. And I was hoping for at least somewhat more gold or olivey green, and it just came out as just brown. There was nothing there, and the gold shimmer that I had used on the inner corner of my eye did not even show up at all. Like the whole thing just became this muddy brown. Then that was it. That was the only color that I saw was brown. And I mean, if that's what I was going for, great, but I was not. I wanted a little bit more like olivey greens and golds, and I did not get that. So I was fairly disappointed with how everything turned out. It just, I mean, I guess we could say that all of the shades blended together really, really nicely because it just became one color. And so that was very, very disappointing for me. And so now I know that pretty much everything from Charlotte Tilbury I'm not gonna buy because none of it wants to work for me. And so I was very disappointed with that. It is very pretty, as most luxury products are, and I don't think it's worth it. At least not for me. I know a lot of people tend to rave about her products. I have yet to find a single one that actually works for me, where it doesn't just make my face look meh, you know, at best. So very disappointed, but I really did want to try the quads at least because they always look beautiful. But at least I tried it with a quad instead of one of her huge 12-pan palettes, where I really would have been spending a lot of money and been very sad. So yeah, all right. Moving on from that, we have far better. So the next thing up is going to be from Kaleidos. They came out with two quads at the end of last year. We have the Flowing Haze and the Glowing Iris palettes, and they are super gorgeous. The Iris one is these gorgeous kind of periwinkle shades. You've got 3 matte shades and then 1 shimmer, and they definitely have a really nice range on all of their quad palettes of a light, medium, and dark matte, and then a really complementary medium to light toned shimmer shade, and they are just absolutely stunning. The Haze palette is more of the neutral side with like a pop of kind of eggplanty, and then this guy we're gonna swatch because it is a special shade because it's not just a shimmer, it's got a little bit of a grungy shift to it. So it goes a little bit between like this kind of purpley burnt rose and then a yellowish tone. So there you can see the kind of yellowish and then into that burnt rose purplish tone. So very, very nice duochrome that we have on there. Really enjoyed that shade being in there. And that's actually the palette that I have on my eyes right now, aside from the green. We'll get into that in a minute. But all of the matte shades were from the Haze palette, and I love Kaleidos' eyeshadow formula. It's absolutely stunning. And so I knew that it was gonna work out great for the look that I had planned for today. And I have 2 of the other quads from Kaleidos as well, and they work equally as nice. They are more even more so than the Haze palette. One of them is very cool tone neutral brown, and then the other one is your black and gray palette. Both absolutely awesome. So I am really enjoying these quads that they have coming out. Plus I love the packaging. It's this like really squishy, soft velvet kind of feel, and then you've got this super cute like metal design on there of like an orchid or something like that. So very, very beautiful. And to go along with that, I combined it with my Unearthly Cosmetics All I Ever Wanted Volume 2 palette, which I finally picked up at the end of last year, and that is what I have on the inner half of my eye. I used a combination of the Stone shade and the Saber shade, and there are so many beautiful shimmers in this palette. You have so many different formulas of like satins to straight up metallics to kind of your chunky, more creamy metallics to duochromes. I mean, just it runs the gamut in this palette, and so it is an absolutely perfect palette. Probably what I would recommend the most for this palette, because there aren't any matte shades in here. So because I am really, really loving the like neutral to pop of neons lately, what I would end up doing is I would take this palette for all of those pops of neons and bright colors, and then I would bring a neutral palette along with me, like probably my P. Louise one that I had just gotten in the advent calendar, that was the super large, more grungy of the neutral palettes, and those two combined would be absolutely perfect. Or even just bringing along one of the neutral quads from Kaleidos. I mean, they pair absolutely perfect. And so let's go ahead and swatch the Luna shade because it's so pretty. Has that really nice kind of pinkish base to it, and then goes between this light blue to kind of greenish purple. So there you can see the pink base, and then the blue sparkle on top, a little bit of that green, and then also a little bit of purple in there. Really beautiful, very glassy looking reflect. Absolutely gorgeous, and just all of the different metallics in there are so stunning. I mean, let's go ahead and swatch the Storm shade as well, because that is also really nice. I mean, there are so many nice shades in here. It's just, you could last for weeks just on this palette alone for shimmers. So this guy has a shift between a greenish into a purple, also with a slight little bit of blue in there as well. So there you can see the purple to green very clearly on there, the half and half, and then more of the purple, and then a little bit of that kick of blue as well. And I would say with this one, it is not completely opaque at the first go. You would need to build it up just ever so slightly, but builds up beautifully. So yeah, I mean, to me, this palette was totally worth the money. I want to say it was like $70-ish, but given the quality of all of the shimmers on there and the fact that it has like so many different colors and formulas in there, it was very much worth it to me, because it is like my go-to shimmer palette right now. And then I just throw on whatever mattes underneath and then blend them in with this guy. So absolutely awesome. I really love this palette. We've got two left. The first one up is going to be from Glaminatrix Cosmetics. I picked up the Nocturnal palette, and for me, I had a hard time choosing between the Glamorous palette and then the Nocturnal, but I ended up going with the Nocturnal one because it is more of those grungy tones that I really enjoy. Ignore the dog fur that's on the top. There's dog fur everywhere. And really enjoyed all of the shades. They packaged it up so well. So essentially, I think that like you ended up getting all of the shades separate as singles, and then you could fill them in so that way they were really able to pack it up nicely so that nothing broke. And it is a very nice magnetic palette, and so I really enjoy that. And this is the look that I ended up coming up with. Very grungy. It's essentially what I was hoping for with the Charlotte Tilbury palette, and was able to very successfully create the really nice kind of grungy yellowish mustardy shades, and then I used the gold in the inner portion, and this is definitely more of a duo multi-chrome. It is a little bit of a thicker, chunkier formula, but still absolutely gorgeous. There it is. Very nice. It goes between like a little bit of a kind of mustardy, yellowish gold into kind of a limey green with a little bit of some copper undertones as well. So there you can see that guy. Very, very beautiful, very rich color on there. Easily buildable, and I just like that it kind of had more of that coppery tone to it, so it made it really nice on the inner corner, and it blended beautifully with the other shades. And I was wanting to bring out a little bit more of the kind of yellowish portion of that shade, and so that was why I used Fog a little bit heavier underneath. But all of these shades are gorgeous. All of the metallics are different specialty shades that have different shifts to them, and so really, really gorgeous. Like this guy, you're seeing kind of a bluish tone that matches that. What I am seeing is a really nice deep purple into kind of a black shade. For the dusk shade, you're seeing purple. I'm seeing gold and reds. So all of these shades are really, really gorgeous. So if you are someone that loves more of the grungy tones, I would definitely recommend the Nocturnal palette. But all of their shades are beautiful, and they offer so much of these shades as singles as well. And so if you're uncertain if you want to pick up the whole palette, if there's some shades that you're not as much of a fan of, you can definitely grab shades as singles as well. And that's one of my favorite things with a lot of indie brands, is anytime you can get singles versus having to spend the money for a whole palette, instead create your perfect palette. Pick out all of the shades and formulas that you love, and then just put that together as one, so that when you're spending that money, you're not having wasted shades if you don't like all of the shades in the palette. And then the final palette that we're gonna look at is from Martine Cosmetics, which is a French brand. And it came in this absolutely awesome box. This is the XXX palette. It's very spacey, like, it's so like, I don't like, it reminds like Star Wars, Star Trek type of stuff. Very space-like. It opens up like this, and then the palette would be inside of there, but I took it out so that I wouldn't make a mess. They are available through Beauty Bay, and so if you are not in Europe, I would highly recommend purchasing through Beauty Bay instead of going directly through the Martine Cosmetics website, which is the mistake that I made, because I didn't know that right away. And so I was like, oh, I need to grab it. So I bought it through Martine Cosmetics, which meant not only was I paying in euros instead of dollars, but I also had to deal with Europe shipping costs instead of just getting from Beauty Bay directly, which the shipping is like a fraction of the cost because they have warehouses in the US. And so wish I had known that, because it would have saved me. I think I ended up spending like close to $100, and this palette is like, I think around 50, so it cost me almost double had I just done my research. And so hopefully that saves you guys from making the mistake that I made. If you live in Europe, definitely by all means go through the Martine Cosmetics website, because your shipping is obviously going to be perfectly fine. So hopefully I helped save you guys a little bit of money. And yeah, so let's go ahead and take a look at the actual palette. So this is the XXX palette. It's got this really cool kind of reptile scale, very alien-esque kind of greenish teal color on the outside. And then when you go into the inside, it's gorgeous. I mean, we know I love a good neon green, clearly. And just, I mean, all of these cool tone grays and silvers and blacks. I mean, and then these ever so slight pops of purple in there. I mean, absolutely stunning. I did have two shades that broke, but I was able to messily repress them with my fingers. So you can see those two guys on there had a rough journey, but I was easily able to fix it. This is the look that I came up with, and I mean, just absolutely gorgeous. I used the Joan shade in the inner corner, and that is that silver metallic. So let's go ahead and swatch that puppy real quick so you guys can see. It is so beautiful. Look at that. I mean, really nice silver tone, not too light, but also not too dark. And so it's that perfect medium metallic, not quite at the level of a foil, but still really, really nice reflect going on. And I absolutely loved it. And so it's, I would say, not 100% opaque right off the bat. You would need to do about 2 layers to get to full opacity where you can't see anything underneath. But absolutely gorgeous. I mean, all of the shades in here are so pretty. I was kicking myself that I did not pick up the 669 palette, and so I am so glad that I grabbed this guide because this color story just screams my name. I had used the Bishop and the Dallas shades, as well as just a little bit of Brett in that look as well, and then deepened it up with My Man, and I believe I used Ron as well, and then Crow, which are these two deeper shades on the outside for the outer corner, and absolutely gorgeous. Really enjoyed it. And so if you have not picked up this guy yet, highly recommend. Just if you live in the US or Canada, maybe go through Beauty Bay instead of the Martine Cosmetics site. So that is all I have to say about that, but really enjoyed the majority of the palettes that I was trying out. The only dud was the Charlotte Tilbury, and maybe one day I will learn my lesson on not picking up luxury things because they have yet to go right for me. I think there's like 2 luxury brands that have actually panned out for me, and one of them was Marc Jacobs, and you can't get like 3/4 of their makeup anymore, so you know, hooray. But other than that, that was it for the speed reviews for today. Let me know what you guys thought of everything down in the comments down below. Have you tried any of these palettes? Did you have similar experiences, better, worse? I would love to know. What did you guys think of the eye looks? What do we think of these swatches? They are absolutely stunning in my opinion, especially this guy. I could just stare at it all day. It is absolutely gorgeous with that reflect, and this silver is really nice as well. So let me know what you guys thought of everything, and if you made it to the end of the video and you have not yet subscribed, I would love it if you would subscribe. Come join my family here. We talk a ton about indie brands, we do really colorful makeup, we swatch all kinds of stuff, and so if that sounds like fun, feel free to join us here. Drop a comment down below, let me know what kind of makeup you guys are loving, and other than that, you just go have a good one.